Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And today we are doing another episode of Library Love. If you do not know what this series is on my channel, it's where I go and spend some time at the library. It's to help me save money. It's to help me keep up with the latest trends, especially because I am planning a no-buy this year. So this way I can at least read the updated books without buying them. So today I have the Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole, Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair, and the listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm going to start with this book because I think I have the most to say, and then we'll just kind of go down. The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater is about a hotel that is pretty much told by the FBI they have to take in the big wigs of the Atlas, the Axis, during World War II. So that's Germany, Japan, Italy, and Russia. And it's more. One thing I do not like about this book is I feel like they focus too much on the German stuff, which, if you're a historical fiction fangirl like I used to be, I read probably anything and everything to do around that time period. So I know kind of already how that went. And this book does not shy away from the graphic language towards the Jewish people of this time when it comes to the Germans. So that's just something, if that is a trigger for you, if you don't like reading about that, this is probably not the book for you, even though I found it extremely interesting. I think this is a very important book to read because it gives just kind of that side that I don't feel like we see very much, which is the American side. And this is coming from an American, but I don't think we see a lot of how America was affected, and we get to see it right here. So this woman that runs this hotel has to deal with all this. And she has Jewish, employees because, she's not against them. Like, it's America, for, all these freedoms. And it's like, how do you react to somebody that does not believe your freedoms are good or exist? Because obviously, when it comes to the Germans, there is a deep hatred. And it's not only because of Hitler, but it's also this underground notion of, and this is what the propaganda passes, is that the Germans blame the Jews for losing World War I. So there is still that hatred. He just helped the case. It's kind of how he propagandized it. Now, I'm guessing the guy in this book, which I can't remember any of their names, I'm guessing he probably knew what was going on in Germany. A lot of people did, a lot of people didn't. Okay. But that's something that I think really grows the attention, is that these are the higher ups that know what's going on a lot more than, the common people. So there's a lot of tension in this book. And then we just have Pearl Harbor, so she has to, have these Japanese men in her hotel, And they have to keep these people entertained. There's one scene in here that talks about how much food these people are eating. And obviously, when the FBI says you have to keep these people entertained, you have to feed them. And you have to feed them well. So you're going against this whole idea that, okay, now we're in World War II now as America, and there is a big line of poverty when you go to war. So you have to, as a hotel person, I mean, this is a high-end hotel. I'm not, no, there was a hair on my boat. So, like, and it's just so infuriating because it's like that food could have went to other people. And it's just this whole thing of, we need to keep these guys, like, very, very far away from any situation and hide them somewhere is really what they were doing. And just the cost of everything. And it's just like, you feel that whole urge of the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, like the consequences of war financially, and physically and mentally, and having to deal with the whole factor that you have the enemy in your house, which happened a lot in other wars. Like, this is not like this brand new concept. This happened a lot during the Civil War. This happened a lot in the Revolutionary War. You always had this thing where, you know, the enemy would take over your property. You had to let them in. It happened in France with Germany and stuff like that. So this is not a new concept, but it's just opened your eyes in such a way that I don't feel like a lot of historical fiction has done recently, because they only stick with one thing. Only, like, I got sick of, like, just the basic World War II history. And that was just kind of my thing. It was different, and I liked it. I gave it like 4 stars. There was some problems. I really thought it could have been shorter, but that's about it. So we have Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair. I had such a fun time with this. This brought me back to my urban fantasy days, and I eating it up. Now, you can skip this part if trigger warnings are kind of what you consider spoilers and you don't want to hear any of the triggers. I'm just going to read off this page for you guys. Religious trauma, sexual assault, especially by an authority figure in the church. Child abuse and emotional abuse by parent and authority figures in the church. So this deals with a lot of religious trauma. What this is about is it's about Lilith. She is assigned to get married. She's like, no, thank you. Which, yes, girl. And she is trying to become her own woman. She steals this knife, is trying to sell it, and the knife is killing everybody besides her when they touch it. I loved Lilith as a character so much. I think she was a powerful woman, and I do also really like Xavier, which is the guy that's always tracking her down, but they have steamy time. And to me, it's a real enemies to lovers type of story. If you're like looking for one, I would say this one probably. And I love that this was in an urban setting. It works so well being in an urban setting. I don't really understand her powers yet. That's something that they're probably gonna. Scarlet St. Clair probably is gonna do more in the sequel because this is a series. I don't know how many books, but I think Blood of Lilith is the name of the series. But this was just fun. This was a good time. It was a lot darker than what I would consider regular urban fantasy, like back in the day was, but I really liked it. And then the Book of Azrael by Amber B. Nicole. And this is about vampires. And I really had a good time with this too. 5 out of 5 stars. Man, there is not a lot of information, guys. So this is about Diana. She's pretty much dragged into this, like, gods. There's vampires. There's werewolves. Like, in this whole world where, like, mythical creatures. It actually reminds me of another book that's called Gods and Monsters. I got really confused by, like, both of them. But that's the first one. I can't remember what the series is called. And I really enjoyed this. I really thought it was a good time. Again, like, a lot darker of a urban fantasy setting. Like, check your triggers on this. I don't know if this has a trigger page. No, there's no trigger page. But yeah, there's dark things that happen too in this. Like, there's a skull on the cover and it's appropriate. Let's just put it that way. But I really like this one. I will probably continue with that series. This was 5 out of 5 stars. I'll probably continue with the other series. Like, that was my thing about this stack with, I didn't read a bad book. And then I was reading Red Rising. So I was really ending my year off really, really well. I have an anathema and the first the boy version of Zodiac Academy from The Boys, the first book. I have that, and then but I'll probably do another Library with Love episode for just those two. And technically, Book of Azrael was like my first book of 2026. So you'll see that in my wrap up. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thursdays for other media, and Sundays for books. And I will see you later. Bye.